So I mean, let's talk about how this started, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when we, I think, you know, I was going through a rough period. Everybody knows that already, but for some reason you invited me to the studio and you encouraged me to just start talking, right?
Bro, that's what I learned. I don't even know when episode 1 is. I was here without all this stuff, like my shirt off, like weird ass thumbnail. But you know, like, what is this video about? But I quickly, and I know you have too, 14, what episodes are we in?
15, I think.
Like the first episode, you know right away how good it feels.
Yeah.
Right away, you know how good it feels. Even though like this is a small, typical size Hawaii 3-2, you know, like this is a small space. There's only 2 people in it. And just those 2 environmental factors, like a small space with 2 people in it, is already the kind of environment that will elicit that kind of experience. You know what I mean? So already we're winning. And then the reason why I asked you to just speak is because a lot of times people they don't know what let's just put it this way. There's a gap between your thought and your speech, or your thought and your articulation. So we always think it, but when you articulate it to somebody else, it kind of reveals to you deeper parts of your thinking, or other parts that you didn't realize you didn't realize you needed to address or clarify. So it's like a clarifying process of what you think, what goes on in here and in here, is to use your mouth with someone, because now you're forced to produce. It's you know what, dude, it's just like language. It's just like learning Japanese as an adult, a level 4 language. Like, you have to produce. You know way more and you feel way more, but if there's a language barrier here, you can't get to that person. So you're struggling, trying to climb this language barrier, and in that process, eventually you start to peek over it, and they see you, and you see each other, to the point that barrier is like here. And I think that's what I experience, you experience, and podcasters experience when they talk with someone, is like breaking down walls. The barrier between what I think and feel and what I can express, just brick by brick, it kind of breaks down that wall. And so I knew that I think this would have happened even if you didn't have an emotional, traumatic event happen to you. But the fact that you were in a painful state, in a chaotic state, in a confusing state.
I was searching for meaning.
It could have been, you could bounce off that bottom, or you could stay there and linger there and get deeper.
If we didn't have that initial conversation, and I didn't watch that piece that you turned it into, the wine is a, you know what I mean? Like, wine is a complement to food. It's a labor of passion and love. A lot of them are family owned. There's a lot of artisanal aspects to the production of wine and the culture of wine. Every culture in this world has their form of wine, which comes from a fruit, right? Essentially grapes. And there's thousands of different types of grape varietals that do well in certain climates, different soils, different sun contact. There's so many different variables that can make a great wine. And then pair it with something to eat. During a meal, sitting down with your favorite people you love, in an important situation, it's part of the curation of an amazing experience. And at the end of the day, that's what life is about. Those experiences with the people that you love, when you come together and bask in what it means to have connection with humans. That whole thing made me see myself differently. I was like, dude, I do know quite a bit about wine, and I actually just really like it. And I don't think there's a lot of people that understand wine. So let's kind of use that as a catalyst and see where it goes. And Taisei Discovers is not a podcast. We do podcast on Taisei Discovers. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like, where are we going? The beauty of not having anyone tell us what to do or have any obligations to anyone other than ourselves to commit that we're just going to work hard and we're just going to continue to pump out meaningful content, tell stories, and then formulate where we go next. But we're just not going to stop running. And with every episode, you give me insight, I give you insight. We build, and our snowball is getting larger and larger and larger. And the reaction from people, bro, when I'm walking around in public once in a while, like, hey, you getting podcasts, huh? Like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's dope. There's so many people that our content is affecting in a good way. That, to me, that's the motivation to continue and not even worry about that as much as the creative process. That's what I'm focusing on. If you like it, enjoy it. If not, that's fine. We're creating more. This is just 2024.
Well, you know, getting recognized in public is sort of a verifying marker, if you will. Right? Not that I'm saying like, yeah, we made it, we here type of verification, but
your reach,
but also in you, right? Because I'm sure there's people who saw you, recognized you, didn't say anything, maybe because what you said didn't resonate with them, it didn't land with them, right? But they've seen your face or something. I mean, I'm sure we do it to people we recognize from a video, but it's not like you will break that ice if what that person said in that video landed. Otherwise, you ain't stopping, you ain't rolling down the window. You know what I mean? You ain't interrupting someone's produce selection. At the, you know, so I think that's good verification that what you're saying is valuable and that your point of view is valuable. And you could literally say this. It kind of feels like I'm diminishing what I just said, but I think it's true. It's just we don't have like real data to prove it. But I think anybody who goes through the process of what we did in just this year is going to see results. And that's kind of a vague statement. Like, of course, you're going to see results from action. Yes, by definition. But like, in terms of how you're experiencing the results you're experiencing now, as well as the community around you, because that's a big thing, right? Like, I think the effect of doing podcasts is greater on the community than it is the individual person doing a podcast.
100%, bro. And that's like what I said with Kealoha's one. What I realized in talking to Kealoha is that this isn't about me. This is about my guests, bro. And then it's about that information that's extracted, that is shared with others that they can possibly relate to or learn from, identify with, right? And gain healing or maybe knowledge, you know what I mean, from it, perspective. Because if you can not change somebody's perspective, but open up their perspective with new ideas, different ways of thinking, to me, that's great for all of humanity, right? Because a lot of people, this is my view, this is what I believe, and I'm sticking to it. And it's like the mystery of what's on the outside. I don't want none of that. We're gonna stay in here because I'm comfortable, and this is what my mom and my family raised me to believe. So I'm just going to stay here and it's safe, our safe zone, right? But for me, that's not how I think. I never thought that way. I don't think that everyone should have an open mind and be free and hippie and all that. Like, for me, it's just more of like conscious, being aware of your conscious, right? And your position and your ability to like think outside the box also translates towards creative expression. You know, the no hindrance. No, like you say, friction, right? When you can accept that everything always will be. This guy has his truths. This guy has his truths. But we're all human beings, and we all make conscious decisions to believe the things that we have faith in. You're making a conscious decision to believe that, right? And that's why, like, with the Tahiti thing, with the Hawaiian thing that's coming up, with all the controversial subjects that my gay homie talking about, those things are super important because I'm not pushing any one agenda. I'm just giving you a space to talk about it, your feelings towards it, share it with the peeps.
You know, I feel that guardrails, humans need guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
And so in you know, going off what you said, beliefs are guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's framing your view of the world,
Mm-hmm.
is your beliefs. I think we need that to focus our energy and daily activities, so we're not just wandering aimlessly. 80 years later, we're like, what the fuck did I do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need guardrails to focus on. It's just, I think, to add on to what you're saying, is we want people to choose and control or have some more autonomy in where those guardrails are,
Mm-hmm.
and to move them
Yes.
if it fits
Adjust.
then.
Yeah.
But that takes that kind of discovery
Yeah.
of oneself, discovery of whatever biases you had. Maybe someone else, like you say, parents, society, school,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, put guardrails up for you, and you never even like question, like, time out, I can move these?
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, that's the therapeutic nature and effect that conversation has.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, something you said just made me realize how I feel about listening to someone with completely different beliefs than me
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. And it takes a bit of humility.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that with the rise of podcasts and the rise of long format conversations, basically, that overall humility, or overall maybe self-reflection, I would like to think these things have also gone on the rise with the rise of podcasts, like hand in hand. I don't know, but I know that because we're active in it, it's happening with us.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think the better effect of it is it kind of makes, we were just talking about ballet, what was it? Nutcracker show. I'm not throwing shade, is what someone says right before they throw shade, right? I'm not. But look, I had a very different, I didn't know that what I was going to see was what I was going to see. And then I thought, you know what this does? This is good, because if you were a ballet fan, you're going to love ballet. If you were on the fence of ballet, you're not on the fence anymore, and you're on the other side of, I'm good
Mm-hmm.
with ballet,
Mm-hmm.
which is valuable too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we're doing, is like, all right, if we're having a conversation with someone who has very spicy beliefs, spicy relative to you, right?
Yeah.
Very different, very wrong, very shameful, whatever your very fill in the blank is, it's going to, I mean, like, for example, the platform, the tech, is going to make the fence riders disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You're either with it, because you're either with it, or you're not, or you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, which is helpful for both us, as in, I think of it like a house party.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want everybody at your house party, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a selection process. There is an invitation list. And in fact, if someone shows up you don't want there, you're going to do what you need to so that person isn't there. Just like a house party. And that's kind of what we're doing, is a house party with no house, with no walls, with no limits, geographical limits.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good if we have devices built into our invitation list, our house party,
Mm-hmm.
our community, that make the fence riders decide, you with it, or you not.
Mm.
Because, it's like, people are people, man. Can't win everybody. And in fact, I'd argue that another result from the rise of podcasts and social media, long format conversations and all that, is that people are realizing that the people who they most connect with might be someone they never even met in real life. That idea of like, there's the one, not just romantically, but the one who gets me, the one who understood what I said that one time, the one who, when I was so passionate about this thing, they actually highlighted something that I needed to hear. And now I've iterated my idea. That one collaborator, not just romantic, the one, but like, what about business, the one, right? Collaboration, the one, like a conversation that you've been waiting for. Every post, every podcast, every episode is throwing a line out to give yourself a chance of that Hanapao moment. You found that one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel like each podcast, there's a Hanapao moment. Whether
Yeah.
it's when 1 pound papio or if it's when taco.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, remember I
Whole.
caught that? Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, sorry.
So,
I'm so dick. Huh?
why did,
What did I jacked it for bait?
bro?
My bad, bro. And they didn't catch anything from it.
I really like fishing now as part of my life. But like the first time I went fishing, maybe first time I went fishing as an adult in Hawaii, which is crazy. I'm from Hawaii, but like I spent most of my adult life overseas.
He went
North
plugging.
Shore.
Yeah, you went plugging with on Mark White lure.
Yep.
Was like on 1.5 ounce Mark White lure, black with red eye.
Yep.
And tell him what you
Bruh.
caught, bro.
I didn't even know how to cast yet. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference between a spinner, conventional. I didn't know flip the bill. I didn't what like newbie. And he's like, bro, just you gave me your like setup, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, cool. What is this? Just rod tip poking the trees, and I'm trying to make my way to the ocean, and then I'm just casting. I thought I snagged, which legit, like everybody in Hawaii, there's so much reef. I thought I snagged on the reef. But then I was like, damn it. I'm thinking in my head, like, I lost Ty's lure. I'm a newbie. I have to walk like 200 yards on the sand back to the campsite, all that. But then it budged a little. I was like, wait, if it's on a rock, did I just lift the rock up? Am I going to like reel in a rock? I wasn't sure because the rod was bent and it was weight.
That's a stiff pole too.
Yeah. And I was like, this is kind of like a beefy pole. And then when I pulled it up, where I could see, like, wait, there's a dark thing coming towards me, just this ball-looking thing. Pulled it closer, and I'm like, wait, that's not a rock, it's a fucking taco. And I don't know how, but I had caught not even like a night taco, because I see people dunking and catching night tacos. So catching tacos on the North Shore with a rod is not like new, but this was like your day taco, like the good taco, and it was probably like 1.5, maybe two, maybe two. I mean, there's a picture of it. I know. There's a picture. Yeah. I was holding it up because I didn't even know. I just carried this whole thing back to you, and then you just wait.
I jacked it.
As soon as I brought it back, he was like, "Oh," proceeded to cut off a couple legs because I remember I was thinking, "Oh, these things are good to eat."
My bad, bro.
But apparently, you had different plans for the taco I just caught. But you know what?
I think we didn't have bait. I think we didn't have taco that weekend. So I was like, brah, perfect, Kenji, good job.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the boys was like, yeah, we get bait. But then I just, thank you for your contribution.
That was teamwork. If you never handed me the rod, and you know what I mean, like
we could have still ate half of it.
we could have.
What the?
But you just automatically, you jacked it. And
Freaking
made
Dan!
it bait.
Remember Dan's? You ever had Dan's popcorn? The popcorn taco, where he cut them up small and he fry them up cornstarch and the thing just like perfect salt. It's amazing. They got a loan.
I would have known if I didn't get jacked.
I know.
Apparently, but
My bad. And we never catch anything with the taco either. So
that's extra
my bad,
salty.
dog.
Nah, just my first taco ever.
Yeah.
It's like, what was you saying before that?
I don't know, man. I mean,
Well, was it the fishing analogy? You were talking about podcasting.
Hanapa
moment.
Yeah, Hanapa moment. I've had a couple of those. I don't think every episode has an actual full-on Hanapa moment, but I feel like when it does happen, it actually an entire episode sometimes feels like a Hanapa moment in hindsight when I review it, and I look at it as a prized fish in a way. And I look forward to more fish, bigger fish, fish that I'm more intentional in I'm going to cast this, use this bait, get this specific fish, and get the fish. You know what I mean? Whereas right now I'm kind of just blind dunking and trying new bait, and that didn't work, right? That's a very good analogy, actually, the fishing analogy. So I want to get to the point where I'm a Matty Wong.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Matty.
Right here. Yo, Ty. Proof that we brothers.
What?
Proof that we brothers right here.
It's good.
Whenever I shoot something like this, for example, when I store the data, I always put year, month, day, So year underscore month underscore 2-digit month underscore day underscore, and then I'll put project. So this one might be like TD, Taisei Discovers, or might be Kenji or something, whatever, underscore. And then I put a basic idea of what is in that folder. So this one might be 2024 recap, Taisei and Kenji, right? So if you look at all everything I shoot, which is 50 gigs a week on a light week to 200 plus, right? Whatever. Just on Monday, today's Wednesday, I think Monday, I made like a 45-minute, 50-minute during my walk entry. Like I call them journal entries, but they're brainstorms. They're also planning. They're also a bunch of things, but it's just me talking, right? I went into the idea that fishing is business or fishing is content, because it's a vast, wide ocean, and we never see, unless you sight fishing, there's sight fishing in content too. But a lot of times you don't see what you're catching. Instead, what you see are conditions, and you make a decision based on your knowledge, based on your tools, based on largely things you do not control, which is just like content, which is we're at the mercy of platforms making decisions, governments making decisions, and ultimately other people making decisions. There's a lot of things we can't control, but we just use our expertise, our experience, and our vision, whatever tools we have, to throw a line out, to give ourselves a chance. And a lot of times we have something in mind, like a target species. A lot of us are just throwing blindly, like you said, blind dunking, whatever. A lot of us don't even take the time to look at the broken line and say, where did it break? Was it this knot? Was it this knot? Was it this piece? I knew I shouldn't use that two-way swivel. It was too rusty. That fucking been in my bag for a year. Like, the same things we do with fishing to produce a fish is what we do with content. And we even use some of the same language. Hooks are used in both of these things, right?
Bait.
Bait, hooks. But also think about it like what I went in, probably more than half of my my entry is me thinking about treating shooting like fishing. For example, I'll say if I like fish, conditions are right, whether it's moon cycle, whether it's rain, wind, time of the year, what coast of the island we're going to, right? We're reading the conditions, and then we say, all right, let's go on Thursday night. We're already making an educated guess to give ourselves better chances. All right, how long? Oh, you got to be home at whatever time. So we're giving ourselves this window, like guardrails again, to the guardrail idea. We're giving ourselves guardrails, and we're like, we're going to try and produce in this window of time at this place. Most of the times we bowl. We don't catch anything. You know what I mean? But there's those hammers like Matty Wong or people who do it professionally and do it in tournaments. Again, a tournament is just another set of guardrails. We're going to perform in this time at this place. Weigh-in is at this time type of thing. So we do kind of this. We make our own guardrails when we go fishing. This time, this place. I got this bait, this pole. I want to try this rig. And then you see who produces. And it's just like when you show up at the spot and you see somebody else, another crew down that side, another crew on that side. It's like we all doing the same thing. And you know what? If I see you catch something, I'm stoked too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what they caught? You know, like in the LA action, what they caught. As a matter of fact, when I was doing this, I was at like Lagoon 4, nighttime. I see him golf cart just parked right on that grass, right next to the sand. I was like, that's not a little team. It was one brother who just went, I don't know what, but he caught something. And then he just, boom, he was singing loud to himself on the way home. And I was like, oh, this brother just come over here. Like,
What?
Hanapar real quick. I don't know. It's dark. You know what I mean? I'm seeing from a distance. I was like, wasn't a little team? No. Somebody just came. And imagine that. He might have had a 30-minute window where he's like, just go over there. Samps. And then boom, Hanapar. And he was out. But I could hear him singing on his way out.
He was all stoked.
I feel like that's us too.
Yeah.
We trying things. And then if we find it works, if you find a rig that works, for example, the Honokai Hale video, I know what rig that is. I know, like in the video world, I know what kind of knots, I know what length of line, I know what pound test. I know what I used in that video. That is a rig.
That was a simple one.
Bruh.
It's
Just like it doesn't take the most nuts rig to catch fish.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do it, and no one's wrong. And that's why I'm like, there's no. Imagine all the uncles out there, those old, you know what I mean, those unks. Bruh, I'm here for 30 minutes, 1 hour, I'm gone.
Yeah.
My cooler, more food. Like that kind of level, I want to achieve that. I in the video world. And there's hammers out there doing it in so many different ways. That's the beautiful part of it, is that there's so many ways to catch fish, and there's so many ways to make content. It really depends on fucking kapili. That's a whole nother way of catching fish. But in theory, we do I think content is a little more closer to like trapping, because it's something you lay out there for a desired effect.
Lynette.
You put it out there, but then you can make the same argument about casting or top water or something like that. I just love the analogy. I love how you came up with it independently from me. You know what I'm saying?
That is
because I was
crazy.
literally just going hard into the fishing is like content, and I was already thinking of all different kinds of frameworks that I could use to express that, which are just as much as saying, like, if you're saying, hey, I want to start a Instagram channel. If I want to start an Instagram account, YouTube channel, whatever, to me that's like saying, I want to go short casting. I'm like, okay, that's just gonna give me 10 more questions I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Minimum, right? That's so broad. What do you want to catch? Oh, you want to catch for photos? You're from Florida and you're used to fishing on a jet ski and inlets, and now you're over here in a tropical environment. It was very reefy, and you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you don't even want to eat the fish you catch. You're looking for game fish. You're like, what fishing? What are you doing making content? It's like you have to have, again, the guardrails.
Yeah.
I mean, I like fishing to eat, but not everybody does. Just like content. Some people fish to make money or make content to make money, but not everybody does. There's catch and release content out there.
No, that's dope. I mean, we are brothers with that simple analogy. So, I mean, how do you feel overall about 2024 and what we've created so far, and where do you see this heading?
I think we just got the proof of concept, and we're figuring out rhythm, right? Like any team, there's where are we at kind of phase until we click. I think we've already clicked. We just have a bit more back end things to expedite what happens when we get together. I think 2025 is going to be a more smooth, leveraged way of expressing ourselves, getting more things out that allow us to laser focus or focus more than 24, and also deepen the relationships that we already had. So Maui Wine, right? OPC, but also I feel like an international trip. So out of America, that's where a lot of the wine audience is. Well, so I see an international trip next year. I see a lot more podcasting, just by nature of exponentially posting. You're gonna get more eyes and more interest and more opportunities with your already deep existing network. That before this even, you're gonna tap more into that. And then I also see on my end a lot more collaboration in terms of I would say manpower, but really it's it's a lot of work to do all this stuff, the production side of things. So a lot more leverage there that would allow me to support and produce more. Like this studio is a step, but there's 15 more to get to like the level of where I want to be producing. So another iteration of this kind of production capability, 2025.
Maui Wine, Elk Farm,
I mean, you got Master Psalm. You got one of 6 in Hawaii already.
Yeah.
Right. So 2 of 6 already in the scheduled.
Chuck. Yep.
That's probably gonna just exponentially rise again.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. There's a couple more too. I mean, Chris Ramel. He said he loves what we're doing. You know, teaching
That's
people
the Kauai
about
one,
wine.
yeah? Or,
no, I think there's a Big Island one, but there's also David Yoshida, who opened his own restaurant here in Kapahulu, and then you have Chris Ramelb, Chuck Furia. I have Roberto Viernes. I asked Roberto in the beginning, and he seemed a little hesitant, so I'm just allowing that to kind of like play out. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, doesn't. And then there's one other that I don't know. I don't know who he is.
Speaking of Roberto, that's crazy because that's the first blind that I actually shot. You remember that? You was like, hey, just come through because this is cool. Basically, we wasn't even thinking about Taisei Discovers. And I remember I showed up, and then this was a tasting.
Yeah.
The other guy, I forgot his name. Sorry, man. But he was there with Roberto, and they were presenting basically a bunch of different wines. And I watched and participated, right? Like, super foreign to me. But I have my camera on, so I have some B-roll of you. Remember you blinded him?
Yeah.
Or you just brought him a wine in a paper bag or something? Like,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what's this? This is when he has to like guess, like a blind taste test action, right? And he went through the whole thing. And I don't think he wasn't wearing a mic or anything. And I don't even know if I had the whole thing like on camera, if I was recording or not. Because I remember I was like, I don't know if this is okay in this world, like to like shoot a blind. I didn't know, right? I'm like, this guy's a respectable person. I didn't ask him if like I can get this on camera, but so I
did. I must have asked him.
No, you know what? Because we weren't even thinking about content. You know what I'm saying? Like I just showed up, and I had.
You're just my brother that had
shows
his GH3 or something. GH2.
No, that was I already had the FX3, I think.
Oh,
but it was a while ago.
So
a little full circle because I remember that's when I first knew, or I saw a blind tasting, and I saw someone do something I never saw before. Like what this guy's what? Like how do you even get that from a sip or a sniff? So I remember that.
Damn.
It's just way before we even did this.
Shit.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Auntie Sharon did some blind tastings back at Swiss Inn days.
No,
you know, think about it.
Oh, guarantee Auntie Sharon has done some blind tastings.
Guarantee.
Yeah. So I mean, 2024. I'm very happy with what we've done. 15 podcasts, a lot of great content with Maui Wine. Out in the field, we still got Amatera, we still got Lingua Franca, like the full length stuff. Those are all stuff that eventually.
Well, that's a big. So let's get to there's the fun production stuff, but then there's also we're talking about Hanapa, right? Like the goal of the OPC thing was to make a wave, right? Y'all can catch it. It's just like fishing. Watch, look, you see somebody pull out 20-pound meal or something, you'd be like, whoa, I want to do that. It's like create this wave of why isn't everybody shooting, sharing, collabing? Because that's where we are today. All right, I don't know anything about OPC, but as an event, it would seem like a no-brainer to have a bunch of content and encourage the participants of the event to make content. So because I saw a lack of that on YouTube and just basic searches, I was like, oh, this is prime. Again, just reading the environment that's out of our control. A very specific event is happening in a very specific community that I cannot find too much stuff about. All right, well, why don't we just make it? So this one is, to me, a little bit more of a yearly look because it literally is an annual event. So any annual event, you're probably using last year's event to promote next year's, right? To create footage to promote next year's, or in between that gap, you want to be top of mind. So you create something in this year and you top of mind before your tickets go on sale for next year, whatever the strategy is. For us, I was like, oh, that's one pillar that we could start. And so again, the fishing parallel here, we got a lot in the freezer that we didn't even cut up yet. We got poundage in the freezer that is just sitting there, hasn't been processed, packaged, or distributed yet, but it's in there, bro. Right? So we went on a Alaska fishing tour, basically, came back with a lot of poundage. Not all of it has been processed yet. We let out samples.
Yeah. What we should set up a time where instead of like an interview, it's just like us going through footage and then like logging it all down. So I know, because like if you think about like walking through the last Thursdays, right? So much content that we could just make little bangers out of,
just all the streets of Portland, Lombard, Northeast, like all of that.
The bridges.
I mean, we do some of the tap.
The tap as well.
Yeah, bro. See, that's the thing. I need guardrails.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to make that one reel about the tattoo. That is like a whole 2.5-ish minute segment in a larger, let's say 25-minute piece on YouTube, long format that collectively is Northeast Portland. Because in it we got Alberta Street. Last Thursday we got Swiss Hibiscus, right? We got kicking it with the cousins. We got going for runs in the morning, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like that one nice Ford F-150 I saw. I was like, damn, I kind of like that older retro look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right. We could spend some time just going in the freezer and getting some of this shit out.
I just want to just watch some of it and then get like little nugs and stuff, but like just relive that. Remember the comedy show?
Oh, see? Yes.
In the parking lot?
I know.
Bro.
I know.
Oh, with the freaking Osmo?
Wait, did I have it?
We had the Osmo.
You're right. The Osmo, that was the first, Ontario, California Fate's wedding. It was the first time I used the Osmo. And then I was like, damn, I wish I had this when I was in Tokyo. Then I went up to meet you in Oregon. And that's when we started going heavy.
Bro, I took the Osmo on the bus. For every...
Yep.
And I was out there, everybody's like, what kind of
Osmo
camera is
Pocket.
that? I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out, but...
Yeah, we got a lot in the bank. But podcasting is a nice way to keep the pace.
Yeah.
Especially with the format that we've created as far as one podcast equals X amount of content coming out of it.
Yep.
So I see that as sort of the keep the boat moving content, but also like a great way to network and also a great way to just connect with the community. But then what we feel drawn to do is those targeted missions. We're going to this event, we're going to this country, we're going to this winery, we're going to this factory. We're talking to which wrapped in it is sort of an interview like with Paula. We didn't go to Maui Wine saying we're going to do a podcast. We went saying we're interested in this place. We want to dive in deeper. And just naturally conversations come out of that. So I think there'll be more of that. I would like to just be doing like 80% is that.
Yeah.
And then, 20%, I mean, whatever. This is now in 2024. My mind might change tomorrow. So
true. But I mean, I'm enjoying doing podcasts. I feel like I'm getting stronger. And there's no shortage of guests. The network that the 20 years at Roy's it put me in good graces with so many people that do so many wonderful things that have stories that need to be told.
That would be a good one, Uncle Roy. I can see it.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of time.
And also a matter of effort, direction, results, which we're doing. So I think we're on the right path. It's highlighted by the amount of people who react both on the screens but in real life too. And I see also in 2025, Mom.
Yeah.
Ma
That's
Dukes.
yeah.
You know, she's already been instrumental in what we do and
Mhm.
our creative spirit.
Mhm.
So, and when you asked her about it at dinner the other week, I don't understand it. I don't understand it yet. I'm like, okay, but I think you do understand it. You understand us.
I don't think you have to understand.
Yeah, you understand
just,
us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's coming too, 2025.
Yeah. That's gonna be an interesting one. But the Roy one, I can only imagine. You know, I for some reason, I thought about it, but it left my head, and I think it's because of who I am in that company, and then also the fact that I'm doing something for myself on the side that's gaining popularity. So it's almost like a conflict in a way. In some people's mind,
Yeah.
like, oh, what is he doing? Is he doing, you know, he's not doing enough for the company and doing more for himself, but like really that should be encouraged. And I will always give that company what I need as long as I'm employed there, what the company needs, because it made me who I am.
It's self-improvement, period.
Yeah.
What company is going to hate on an employee doing self-improvement activities?
Well,
you hating on somebody going to the gym? If it impedes on performance, yes.
Yes, if it takes away from the job, right? But it's not. It's actually helping the job. And it's I'm using everything that I learned from the job for this. And I think that having Roy on here just makes sense because I can give him his respect and I can thank him for providing a place for me to cultivate myself and a system that literally I adjusted to, made it my own, added my own flavor to it, and was able to really run a restaurant almost as if it were my own. How many other restaurants? Nobody's breathing down my neck. Nobody's there, this, that. You know, I got somebody that helps me with my guardrails, right? And brought a mic. But for the most part, you know, the vision and everything like that, I'm so fortunate to have so much freedom and have earned so much trust. And like I said, the 20 years of working there and creating meaningful relationships, genuine, like I always knew I was going to use it for something. I didn't know what it was, you know what I mean? Whether it's to get another job that paid me a lot more someday. I don't know. I knew it wasn't that, but now it's showing its face. All those reasons, all I do is make a call and say, hey, you see my podcast? Taisei Discovers. If not, check it out. I would love to tell your story on there. Just me and you. Right? And then people, they know that I'm not the guy that's cold calling, that's like, I'll pay you for an episode, or I want somebody with all these followers. Like, I don't care if you have no followers. I don't care about getting followers. I just want to create meaningful content, and I'll track those that like it and will support. That's really the end of, you know, like how I feel about that. So bless up Roy's, much respect, and thank you, Uncle Roy. He'll be on here at some point.
Okay, well, speaking of which,
I gotta go.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, bro. Love you, Kenji. Thank you for all your efforts.
Love you too, bro.
This wouldn't be possible without you.